Well, welcome back to Finance Uncut. On today's episode, Casey Research says $190 silver. So I wanted to share with you guys this email that I received from Doug Casey's International Man. Now, if you don't receive emails from International Man, I'll put a link in the description below where you can sign up and receive the same emails I get. And this blog was written by Nick Giambruno, who is the chief analyst of Casey Research's flagship advisory, the Casey Report. The media hated them. Big business, numerous federal agencies and politicians of all stripes hated them too. Tiffany's, the famous jewelry company, vilified them in a full-page advertisement in the New York Times, calling them unconscionable. The villains everyone loved to hate were the Hunt brothers. They were critics of the fiat money system and advocated hard money based on commodities. At the time, private ownership of most gold was illegal in the US, so the Hunt brothers turned to the next best thing, silver. From the late 70s to 80s, they stockpiled silver, and unlike other investors who settled their silver trades in cash, the Hunts took physical delivery. This often meant flying the silver to Switzerland for storage. It squeezed the supply and helped push up the silver price. It went from around $6 in the late 70s to over $50 in 1980. But were the Hunts really the bad guys everyone made them out to be? They did nothing unethical. They just exchanged US dollars for silver from voluntary sellers. In fact, it was a response to the government's unethical actions. You'll recall President Nixon severed the US dollar's last link to gold in 1971. Without the discipline of gold, there was nothing to stop the US government from printing as many dollars as it pleased, diluting the purchasing power of savers. As a result, the dollar was now a pure fiat currency. The Hunts bought silver because they figured the US government's actions would lead to inflation, and they were right. The 70s saw the highest inflation levels in living memory, even according to the government's own crooked statistics. Still, that didn't stop the US government from going after them for charges of market manipulation. To that, one of the Hunt brothers said, apparently the CFTC is trying to repeal the law of supply and demand. You see, the silver market is tiny. It's roughly 1/10 the size of the gold market. So it's prone to crisis-driven upside explosions as money floods into it during periods of high inflation. And today, the stage is set for another explosion in inflation. I expect it to kick off a crisis-driven mania into silver like what happened in 1980, but potentially even bigger. Why silver now? Frankly, there is only one reason I'm interested in silver. I'm not interested in silver as money because it is inferior to gold. I'm not interested in silver because of its industrial uses either, especially at a time when the global economy is on the precipice of the biggest crisis in generations. The only reason why I'm interested in silver is that it is prone to crisis-driven upside explosions. It is a small market with enormous speculative potential during periods of monetary chaos, such as one I think we are entering now. Gold is primarily a monetary metal. Now, I know you'll all be screaming at your screens saying, no, silver's money, silver's money. And yes, I've done this video, Silver is God's Money. I went through in this video the history of money, and silver, yes, has been used as money more times than gold. But if we are looking at where we are today, in today's world, then gold is more of a monetary metal than silver is. Consequently, industrial uses make up a relative small portion of the overall demand for gold. Silver is the opposite, primarily an industrial metal, with monetary use making up about 15% of the overall demand. That 15% usually is inconsequential in driving the silver price, but during periods of monetary chaos and raging inflation, people flood into alternative forms of money that hold their value better than rapidly depreciating government paper currencies. It is during these times that there is often a stampede into silver, and because the silver market is so tiny, it quickly gets overwhelmed, causing the price to spike. That's why I like to view silver as an industrial metal with a call option on inflation and monetary chaos. I like that. It all could happen sooner than most realize, and I think the price action will be explosive. That's because the US government has printed more money recently than it has for its entire existence. Thanks to the hysteria, governments worldwide have thrown out the last semblance of fiscal and monetary sanity. As a result, they are destroying their currencies at a breakneck pace. Deficits are exploding to previously unthinkable levels. The US government is issuing avalanches of debt to finance all this spending. So who is buying all this debt? The Federal Reserve and its printing press. In the end, it's likely to be measured in the tens of trillions of dollars or more. It's the most reckless monetary action in the history of the US. Moreover, it has set the stage for an explosion in inflation, notwithstanding any token moves to tighten. Silver's monetary demand skyrockets during periods of high inflation. As money floods into it, the prices spikes. And it's happened before, and it will happen again, soon. The next Hunt brothers. Today, the stage is set for another explosion in inflation. It's likely to be even more significant than the inflation of the 1970s. I expect it to kick off a crisis-driven mania into silver like what happened in 1980. Adjusted for today's prices, that could mean silver soaring above $190 an ounce, many multiples the current price. If that happens, silver mining stocks will go up even higher by orders of magnitude. People will panic into precious metals once the dollar starts to lose its value in earnest, and I expect could be sometime in the next 12 months. It will be similar to what happened in the 70s and 80s, but likely on a much bigger scale today. This time it won't be the Hunt brothers. The next Hunt brothers will be the masses scared of inflation eating away their savings. They'll quickly gobble up the minuscule silver market, and it will cause the price to spike. It's a predictable pattern. Financial profligacy, currency debasement, panic into silver, and price spike. Here's the bottom line. The stars are aligned for a silver price spike for the record books. Now is the perfect time to get positioned. Just remember the silver price tends to collapse just as dramatically as it rises, which is why I'd recommend looking to cash out as soon as the silver price spikes. So a couple of points here. Now, I've shared in other videos that I've never sold my gold. I just accumulated over time, and it's a store of value, a store of wealth for me. Yet, I have shared how I have bought and sold silver. And I did this video, Wealth Cycles, where I personally shared my story where I turned just over $60,000, bought silver. So I had fiat currency, converted it to silver. Silver went up, property market in the US crashed. I then sold the silver, converted it into US property. That US property has gone up. So, in 10 years, I've turned a bit over $60,000 into $750,000. And a lot of that has gone back into gold and silver. A lot of it, as I said, is still sitting in US dollars. And I've shared in other videos my, theory, especially around the dollar milkshake theory, where if there's another liquidity event, I'll turn that into Australian dollars and buy beaten down silver and gold and silver stocks. If you haven't watched this video, I'll put a link in the description below, as I measure everything in other assets. I measure my gold and silver in other assets. I don't measure them in US dollars or in fiat currency. So Nick mentioned that the mining stocks will go up even more in the order of magnitude. And I've shared this chart before. So we've got the bull market between 03 and 08. You can see the silver price and silver miners. And then the 08 to 11. Once again, you can see the silver price versus silver miners. So the miners exponentially outperform, in general, the silver price. Now, you can get some bad miners, you can get some bad explorers. But generally, they outperform even more. And I know Doug Casey is big in the mining space as a speculator. Now, two videos that I've done that I really highly recommend you guys watching if you haven't watched it is The Real Silver Squeeze. And we talk about, or at least I talk about it, but also Rick Rule talks about, all we have to do is get investment going back to mean, and we're going to see, a 3xer here in the metals, in silver in particular. And I did this video. This is one of my favorite videos I've ever done Crisis Investing Gold and Silver, where I shared all the things that I learnt from Doug Casey's book, Crisis Investing. It was the 1990s edition, but it goes through his experience where he made huge profits, in particular in the late 70s and 80s in the silver market. And in the video, I just share some of his best tips, best pieces of education, gold nuggets from that book. And also in this video, I shared one of my own stories, one of my own investments. So in the video, I shared how I invested in Chalice and just recently in early 2020. And I made a 25 bagger on this one. And just in a recent video I shared with you guys how I invested recently in another exploration company here in Australia. And that explorer looks like it's found 35 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles, but 35 kilometers worth of gold. Now, its share price from October has gone, so October 2021 has gone from 23 cents to today, which is, I'm recording this on the 31st of January, on Monday, and it's now sitting just under $1. It's in the 90s, this particular stock. If it confirms what it thinks it's found, then this stock has got multiples to go, even from these levels. The stock doesn't have many shares on offer. It's got a market cap under 40 million, and it's looking very good. So I'm still buying this, even though it's now almost $1. I'm still buying this because I'm pretty confident they're going to confirm what they think they found. And I think this stock's going to be another Chalice. And so, I might make another 3-5 bagger from here, buying it at just under $1. I might sell it between that $3-5 mark. Chalice did hit an all-time high of 10.48 in November. So maybe this other stock that I got might hit somewhere like that as well. But yeah, so I think we are heading for higher inflation for multiple reasons, but just the energy side of things. So we're going to have, the currency debasement, more and more currency creation monetized by central banks. We're going to have energy crisis because we just stopped investing in fossil fuels, and to think we can just transfer over to so-called renewables, and my opinion on that, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. And so we're going to have higher energy costs. We're going to have higher input costs. We're going to have higher goods and services. CPI is going to remain high. And so we're going to have deep negative real rates. And eventually people are going to pour into gold and silver, and silver being the small market that it is. You guys know I've been pretty honest on this channel. I'm with Keith Newmeyer. I do see triple-digit silver. I do think silver is going to $100 or above $100. Will it hit 190? I don't know. Will it hit 150? I don't know. Will it hit 500? I don't know. All I know is I believe that it's going above $100. That's all I'll say. And with that, then the miners are going to absolutely explode. The explorers are going to absolutely explode. There's going to be so much capital pouring into this whole market that we're going to see all these big moves, these big gains that we had in previous bull market cycles happen again. But you know what? That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? You think we'll see triple-digit silver? Do you think Nick is right and we're going to see $190 silver? You know what? Even if it doesn't get there, there's huge gains to be made, both in the physical gold and silver market, but also in the mining and exploration space, which is where I specialize in, and that's where I'm, pretty good at, and where I make a lot of gains. Anyway, what do you guys think? Love to see your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Really do appreciate it, guys. Take care, and I'll see you all again on another episode of Finance Uncut.